Warning, this video is intended for adult collectors. It contains plastic collectibles, questionable opinions, and a reviewer who should have retired by now. You have been warned. This is Random Review.
Hello everyone, welcome back to the TJOmega channel and welcome back to Yolopark. We are here once again with one of their AMK Pro figures, and this time it is Age of Extinction Drift. We have seen this on the news roundups for several weeks now. It has been looking exceptionally impressive, as a lot of Yolopark stuff does, and I'm about to demonstrate it in full for you. Now, if you would like one of your own, there is a link in the description to take you right to Yolopark's website where you can grab one for yourself. And I'll give you a reminder at the end of the video, just in case you actually want to see the entire rundown first. And really, look how pretty this is. Why wouldn't you? Why wouldn't you want to see this glorious before actually going to hit the link? So, this is part of their AMK Pro line, as I said. If you are not familiar with that, that means that this is a figure that comes in 40 or so parts that you have to put together, but everything is pre-painted, all of the joints are pre-assembled. You're basically just putting the finishing touches on it, so you get to build like the bulk of it yourself, attach the armor bits on, and then call it a day and make a really good figure out of the whole thing. But something I always try to stress when talking about these kits is this is incredibly intuitive, and this time I actually got to accidentally prove how intuitive the build to these toys are. I took this down to the toy shop where I work just to kind of get the feel of the toy, but I had already opened the box beforehand to take a look at it, and that meant when I got to work, the instructions weren't included. So I had to go by just the photos on the box to actually put this together. And honestly, it still didn't take me all that long. It really didn't slow me down much. It's great because a lot of the parts that you do assemble yourself, like all these little armor panels, for instance, little details in the back, like these little hydraulics here in the ankle, all of that is designed to only fit in certain spots on the toy. Really, you could put this together like a puzzle if you're just observant about all the different shapes of tabs and pins. It's really, really impressive, and yeah, exceptionally intuitive to assemble. So yeah, even without instructions, though, I would still recommend them. Pretty good to build. So let's see what you get for your build. Look at the detail on the head here. I really appreciate figures like this that are taking like the ILM model and putting them into 3D forms, because guess what? We don't get to see that very often. In the movies, everything is so kinetic and going by so fast, you can't appreciate how much detail they're cramming into the models until you get a figure like this that's really putting it all out there. All the individual panels on the face sculpted, everything done in this really nice gold. You see that blue tracing around the helmet. It's very, very nicely done. The sculpt on it, fantastic. Because we got close-up shots of him talking, Drift is one of the ones where he can actually compare to how he looked in the movie, and it's pretty spot on. We go down to the chest. We have this really cool finish to the blue that has this really nice sheen to it. Like, it really does kind of come across like a section of a Bugatti's paint job has been worked into this. But there's also this texture, almost like Kevlar armor, going through it. It's pretty cool. It's actually a pretty cool bit of detail going through it. I like the Drift emblem in the front, right above the grill. It kind of gives me like that G2 throwback when they had the names printed on the toys. Oh, Transmetal. Transmetal's the one that did that. G2 just had the faction on there. But again, detail is king here. Look at the sides and that shoulder armor. The individual hits of silver on all of the connection points to the plating. Every little layer of it still done in that like body armor mesh style. Going all the way that you can see it in the elbow as well. All the little gears to get the wrists and the forearm. And the forearms are asymmetrical, by the way. This one looking far smoother and more armored. And this is where you get a few more hits of the gold as well. Yeah, again, attention to detail is the fantastic part. I couldn't have told you from memory that the hips on this toy had asymmetrical armor on them. You see, there's a different number of layers to the armor, and it's actually a different design as well, almost like it's cobbled together from two different suits. Yeah, it's actually a really weird detail that I didn't ever notice in Drift until I started seeing a figure like this. And I had to go back and look at the character model and go, oh, that's correct. Okay, cool. But yeah, you can still see that sculpted detail going in gray. If we take a look on the back side, you can start seeing a few more mechanical bits. Again, that armoring, that's still covering everything nicely. And then all of these little bits in the back. I didn't realize he had these like little like tire ankle wings, like like Icarus or something. Look at this, Achilles. I can't remember. I'm failing my Greek mythology here. But yeah, you also get all the little spikes are here. You can see all the gearing on the inside where it looks like everything mechanically works like a robot. Lots of little bits of gold, little hidden shurikens in the side of his foot. Never caught that detail on camera. A little bit odd, but hey, great that they noticed it. Yeah, so just an incredibly impressive sculpt and paint job all the way around. Yeah, this is exceptional levels of quality and detailing. And I'm not just blowing smoke here. Like, this is genuinely exceptionally impressive that they worked in so much detail and paint. It's a lot of effort in a figure this size. Speaking of size, I haven't really shown you scale yet. Unfortunately, I do not have a deluxe movie Drift around at the moment. What I do have is the OG Drift, just to show you how far we have come. Now, fortunately, this Drift is still about the same height as a typical deluxe these days, so you do still get, your scale there. So you can have some idea of exactly what you're in for size-wise on this. He's also weighty because he does have some die-cast components into him. They are in the right places. A lot of it is low to the ground to help his balance. This is a very well-balanced figure. I've gotten him into a lot of poses so far where everything is very stable. He goes into poses very, very easily, and the joints are very, very stiff too, so you actually get a lot of friction and a lot of stability in whatever you're doing with him. Let me take you into the articulation since we're going into it now. So you got the ball joint in the head, which has full range of motion all the way around. You see all this tilt is up and down, plenty of range there. Shoulders have a lot. You've got a butterfly joint in the torso and then a universal joint here. And if this shoulder pauldron gets in the way, it's double hinged so you can move it out of the way the rest of the armor and start overlapping for other poses. Love when they think to do that. Around the elbow, well, we do have a bicep rotation as well up here, but around the elbow, we still have this really deep, bend. That is double jointed. Love a double jointed elbow on these figures. The wrist is ball jointed, so it has full rotation as well as some tilting here and there. He is a sword based character, so some wrist tilt is very, very desired. These hands that he currently has equipped are also hinged and articulated. You have a ball joint at the thumb, and then you have, I'm going to get this camera to focus on it. You have one hinge there at the back knuckle, and then at the mid knuckle, you have little hinges for separate two-finger poses. So you can maneuver that however you want for your poses. It's a really, really nice little bit to have. You have not only the waist rotation, but you also have this kind of a rock to the overall torso. He has a waist crunch, which is always a great bit of articulation to get. A little bit of side to side as well. The hips are interesting. I like how Yolopark does these hips because they are universally jointed. And again, the armor is hinged here, so you can get it out of the way, just in case you need your poses to have a little bit more range. But more so than that, I love this part where if you look inside the pelvis piece, you see that little gear-looking section? That is a double hinge that allows you to lower the leg and get a lot more range of posability out of it if you need it. In some poses, it will look a little bit awkward, but it's not really for that. It's just for those poses where you're going to need a lot of extra range and motion forward or sideways or otherwise to the leg itself. But yeah, universal hinge there, lots of range. You have the thigh rotation as well. A little bit hindered, but it gets to all the natural points that it needs to get to. The knees themselves, again, you have this really cool double hinge knee bend. Works really, really well. You can see all the little things that work in the leg in order to make that knee bend happen, which is really neat to see. One of the nice things here is that these little spikes at the back are hinged, so even as you bend the leg, those are going to get out of the way and not actually break on you. It's a little great attention to detail. And then comes the feet, where, yes, you have the side-to-side tilt, you have the forward and back tilt, you have the ankle rotation, you have all the points that you want. And then you also have the toes that bend, you have these spikes that rotate, you have the little ankle wings that also are on a hinge, and then you have the back heel as well that is also on a hinge. Remember how I said I've posed this in a lot of ways and it's always been stable? There you go. That is why the feet have a lot of range to get pretty much any stable pose you need him to get into. Like, I can just quick put him down, not even try to put him in a stable pose. He just stands. It's great. So, lots of range of articulation, pretty much what we expect from Yolopark at this point. We've seen so many of their pieces that just had this incredible range to them, and everything works really, really nicely. It's an exceptionally well done engineering job. Now, we have other ways we can mess around with him. So, for starters, he does have alternate hands. I can just pop them off of the ball joint. And we can, let's see, what hand do we like here? What hand do we like? And just pop the new ones on. So, this one would be a solid splayed open hand. No hinges or articulation to this one. This is just a stable hand, just in case you just need someone to be a little bit more rigid, not articulated at all. I'm going to show you that again. Just going to pop it off there at the wrist. And let's get his sword on. So the swords on the back of him right now are mostly decoration. I can't really get them into his hand or anything. But fortunately, he has his own swords, so he don't need the little ones on his back. This pretty much does the job. Again, it's a very well-detailed piece. You've got lots of little details worked in. Even that little gap in the middle that I completely forgot was in the movie. Again, lots of little details that work really well. Again, sword-based character, wrist articulation, fantastic to have. He does have 2 of said swords. He also has a piece that you can add to his back, like so. Then, let me get this sword out of his hand. And this is going to let you sheath the swords on his back. This does a few things, aside from the fact that it just lets you, carry his weapons as they were intended. If I make sure I get those properly overlaid like so. But that also invokes his secondary mode of the helicopter, because now you see where all 4 of the rotor blades come from, which is a cool little touch. Obviously, part of the movie's character's detail, but Yolopark has recreated it very, very well. So, aside from permanently splayed hands and the gripping hands, you also have, you have your basic fists. Basic fists is also a hand option. I believe that is it. Yeah, you have extra, so, and the nice thing about the holding hands, which is hard for me to show on camera, is that there's actually a little tab inside. So the sword will peg into said tab, as well as be gripped by the fingers. So the swords ain't going anywhere once you actually get them in hand and ready to go. Yeah, this is just... You see just how much range I'm getting off of this. If I want to get his knee a deeper bend. Yeah, it just poses well. Like, it just hits every pose I want it to. It's exceptionally well done. Now, if I want to have him in a few more poses, we have the display stand. So we've seen Yolopark's display stands before, so we know what we're into here. It's a very nice solid plastic base, but what is really cool about it is the stem. The stem is basically just, one big steel flexi cable, and it's exceptionally stiff and exceptionally strong. Very, very well made, and that's going to hold pretty much any pose you want him in for, like flying attacks, jump kicks, whatever you can imagine. For drift, you have to go to these little silver pieces in the back, and that is your marker for removing the rear section, and that is going to be where you plug in the actual display stand, just in case you were wondering where that was. Now, there's also the other trick that Yolopark loves to do on these toys, and the local battery store loves me for this because I go in and buy all the weird batteries for this. The head features the light-up gimmick that a lot of the Yolopark AMK Pro figures do, which is to say the Autobot sigil on the display stand has a magnet in the back, and when I put that magnet against the robot's head, it is going to cause his eyes to light up. Now, his eyes are naturally painted blue, so this is a little bit more subtle than past releases, but I still love that they actually include it. And then if I tap it again, it's going to go into a pulse. If I give it one more tap, it's going to go into a very slow on and off. There you go. That's easy to see. And then one more is going to turn it off completely. Now, it is going to be two weird batteries. I believe these are L621s. Which fortunately I did have lying around from one of the previous Yolopark figures, but just in case you want all the features of your drift, keep that in mind. You might want to just order those batteries ahead of time off of Amazon, just to make sure that you are ready for the drift to come in. And that, my friends, is the brand new drift from Yolopark. I keep saying how much I like this stuff and how good these figures are for the price that they are asking, and I'm never lying. Like, go to the link in the description of this video, go check it out for yourself, find out the nitty-gritty details about the figure, and what you're going to find out is this is a fantastically priced piece for how much quality you're getting. Other companies charge way more for how good of a figure this turns out to be. I actually, like I said, I put this together at the toy shop I work at, and the boss who came in asked me, like, what this was, what the company was, and his first guess on the cost was over $100. If that doesn't tell you how much this is striking quality-wise, I don't know what else will. So there you go. That is the AMK Pro Age of Extinction Drift, another fantastic piece, and another of my growing movie AMK collections, weirdly enough. So yeah, another one in the books, and another one that's very, very impressive. Thank you very much for watching, and again, thank you to Yolopark for actually giving me the opportunity to share this with everybody. And again, if you'd like your own, that's what the link in the description is for. Thank you once again. I will see you next time.
Hello everyone, I am Astral Agent Magnetar, a Tokusatsu VTuber, and I am streaming 4 times a week over on Twitch, Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday afternoons, and a special late night one on late Friday/early Saturday. So come watch, come hang out, and let's make an impact together.